Kaveree, congratulations for being such an eloquent writer and spokesperson across all kinds of issues related to women, to diversity and inclusion. We would love to hear what you have to say today.
Thank you so much, everyone, especially to Deepshika and the SpeakIn team. It's so delightful to be here. I'm really honored, and it was wonderful to listen to everyone today. I just wanted to take a moment to highlight the role that journalists like me can play, in whatever small way. I think there are three aspects to it. One is articulation. If we do not hear the words, we will not be able to do anything or start a conversation. I come from a journalistic career that I began about 34 years ago. That's a long time. And I remember there was a time when sexual harassment was called eve-teasing, and stalking on screen by male heroes in Bollywood was considered romance. So we've come a long way since then. And I think that has happened because we've changed the language that we've used. We've called out people who think stalking is romantic. We've called out people who've used soft terms like eve-teasing when, it's actually sexual harassment, it's molestation. So I think articulation is the most important thing. You cannot change anything if you do not have the language or the capacity to address it. That's one. What articulation does is also start a conversation. And I think SpeakIn is a wonderful example of that. If you do not have conversations, there is no way that you can get people together and change the way they think or reinforce the way they think in whatever way. There's no point in preaching to the converted. You have to expand your sphere of influence. That happens when you have conversation with more and more diverse groups. Again, I want to bring in when I started in journalism. I'm sorry, I sound like one of those real old people, but we didn't even understand what LGBTQI meant. And I remember as recently as about 3 years ago at an edit meeting, I had to explain to the editors, who were all male, by the way, what each letter of that alphabet stood for. And again, these are things that we have seen changing over the past few decades, the past few years. And that has happened because people have spoken up, people have written, people have started conversation. So articulation, conversation, and the last really is action. And that is something that we see here again. If you do not have conversations, you cannot not actually begin to change things. You have to, you cannot talk about sexual harassment and then not have a committee in place, as we saw, at the beginning when we started the Vishaka rules. We had organizations that didn't even have committees in place, or if they had committees in place, they were staffed mostly by people from within the organization. So there was no diversity perspective to it. And of course, then, it translates into hiring, it translates into the way you see the world. So really, these 3 points for me are the most important. And I think as a working journalist, it's something that I try and keep at the forefront of everything that I write: articulation, conversation, and action. Thank you so much again for having me here and for giving me this award.